can ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show. We can be the best, or we can be the worst. So we can be the best thing you ever heard. With the motor singing and the grandstands ringing, it's hard to put it all in words. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong, or what to choose. Hey, but this is how we do. This is how we do. Out on the dirt ovals we play, life in the bright lights with no shade. So letting her go, letting her rip, letting her fly, tossing her in sideways, living the life, letting her ride, eyesight winning to die. Cross her up on the cushion, crossing the line, cause some drama and some bullshit they didn't like. And if they don't like the mood, then we're ready to fly. But this is how we ride, this is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up higher in the groove. Don't give a damn about the cash we're spending. With the time we got, we choose to play it on the go, to stay out on the run. We all high, wild, and handsome. Ain't telling you what's right or wrong, or what to choose. Hey,
Hello,
this is how we do.
ladies and gentlemen. We are here today. We are here. We are grand. We are alive and well. We have the hat on, the jacket, the wings flaring in the damn air, buddy. And after that Monday Night Football game I just saw, you know, the rigging and the fixing in the dirt world is so miniature in comparison to the things I saw today. I mean, a guy literally was instructed to flop onto the ground and give the Minnesota Vikings a free timeout. And honestly, this game came down to time and everything like that. I mean, I don't understand, you know, why that stuff is allowed. I guess it is. Whatever. Y'all can just cheat all the way. I mean, it is Minnesota Vikings, you know, those fans over there. I mean, they're frozen half the year, so I guess so are their brains. I'm not sure. But we did kind of hit on some of the larcenites of the football world, because these Viking fans came in there. Oh, no, he was hobbling, even though he was running. Hold on, let me get this damn thing out. I feel like I need to show you people what I'm talking about. Hold on, look at this. This guy literally says, "Hey, TJ, get down." Watch this. And some people are saying he wasn't. Look. They were saying he wasn't running. He was hobbling. But look, he's running and then falls to the ground. I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, they caught him on camera. I mean, even Joe Buck later in the game was like, because he went down again later in the game, and he was like, "Well, did the coach tell him to?" I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe what I had witnessed here with these people. And here we are thinking football's so much higher and mightier than racing as far as equality and fair calls and rules and all this stuff. But this is just more evidence that it's just rampant. Although this actually does encompass gambling. Now, the definition of running is when your legs are moving and your feet come off the ground within a stride. So if you pay attention to this guy's feet, they are definitely off the ground, and he is running and then just stops and falls to the ground. So these Viking fans that are psychotically delusional, once again, I say that people talk on shows about games and sports all the time and their fan bases, you know, the people within football and stuff. I mean, ESPN is just razzle-dazzling football team owners and players, just destroying them. There's tabloids making up all kinds of crazy shit about girlfriends and boyfriends and cocaine usage, all this stuff, and the regular world can handle it. At least that's true, because I don't think the dirt world could handle that type of criticism. But the blindness to the fandom of their own people doing something wrong is so evident. But once again, hashtag FakeGate on this scenario. Unbelievable. Of course, that's probably not why everyone clicked on to the video. We saw several different things, or two things in particular that I wanted to point out today. One of them is the Broke Joe situation. We do have a report, a review from Broke Joe. Oh my God, hold on, I gotta see that or show this off. Look at this. I shared it today. Michael Irvin, great guy. The caption says, Michael Irvin isn't too happy about his son's rap career and the things he raps about. He says he raps about a life he hasn't lived. He grew up in a gated community his entire childhood. That's so funny. I love that. Keeping it real. We got street beef with people and their kids. That's just awesome. This was an interesting photo. We'll do a few things before we get into the Broke Joe Trophy Cup review and the Hudson O'Neal situation. Very interesting what's going on with this lucky dog. It's crazy. This was a photo posted by Barry Braun, and it was kind of, Barry Braun's almost probably the smartest marketing guy in all of this racing deal. I mean, he's not worried about getting criticism. He throws crazy shit out there. I mean, look at the Bloomquist Ricky Thornton Jr. thing. Once again, Hillary Trump Stone Cold Boss deal. I mean, that promoted Ricky Thornton Jr. across the board. Anybody who hadn't heard about him just instantly did because of that debacle they had there with Bloomquist. But Barry Braun, really smart, causing a lot of disruption in the industry and putting out things like this. He ain't telling nobody what we're doing or anything, but this picture he just randomly posts. Very smart, but if you pay attention to it, it looks like this is a photo from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway or the XR Las Vegas dirt track. And it looks like they have built a short track in the infield of the Las Vegas dirt track. Great idea. I think I'm not a big giant track fan, and there's some giant tracks that put on really good races, but on the majority of the time, big tracks just don't put on as exciting racing action as short tracks. It just don't happen. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I get it. For those who love the drag strip style speed, and it works, Port Royal, and Knoxville with sprint cars at least. Some of y'all, Eldora, some of y'all are rare, and I did hear a lot of people say about Eldora, even though they had treacherous track conditions, that was some of the best racing they had ever saw at Eldora with the character that it had. I would have to halfway agree. I hate how everything unfolded for RTJ, but the racing action was crazy. Although there wasn't too many cars that finished the race, it was kind of the debacle in the scenario of people getting their shit jumped. But hey, I mean, that's what happens. But regardless, this going to a quarter mile here with Barry Braun at Las Vegas, if they do something with that, that is really good. I like this decision if that's actually what this is. I like that this Las Vegas giant track is getting a quarter mile put into it. Almost looks like Davenporty. So this could be interesting. We'll have to see how that develops. A couple other things. Eldora, and right on the heels of my comment, I was just talking about, somebody said Eldora just proved that slick and smooth is lame. And that was a very good point. There was some interviews with Ricky Thornton Jr. after the race. And by the way, I don't know who saw this late model flip on Saturday night, why they canceled, which was basically, this was the reason they canceled the racing action on Saturday night, moved it to Sunday at Eldora with this whole Dirt Track World Championship thing. But this late model flip right here is one of the most insane. It flips like a midget or a non-wing sprint car, but keep in mind, when you see this thing flip, this car's around twice the weight of the midgets and sprint cars we're used to seeing flip like this. So when this guy takes this ride, those are some heavy-ass hard hits for the driver of the car, because when it snaps and hits and slams, the force is twice as much just due to the weight of the car. It's that white car right there. My, oh my. Can we see that again? Look at this. Up and nosing into the track. So right front tire nosing directly into the track. Almost on an upside down angle. Did a full flip. It looks like It looks like it was the right front on the end of the full rotation that dug into the track. No, it was the left front, but still had to go all the way around and dig. Insane flip here for a late model at Eldora. This is and just for these cars in general, I haven't seen too many wrecks like that with late models. And this was not even a super. This was a steel block late model. Some of the races they were trying to get in prior to the super action. But wow, just look at that. Unbelievable wreck. Let's get into the late model lucky dog situation. And prior to doing that, I do want to read a big post from, or I did want to read a big post from Ricky Thornton. Here it is. This is kind of his review of the entire situation at Dirt Track World Championship. It was posted to Ricky Thornton Jr. Racing on Facebook. It says, I want to thank Jeff Hoker for having this posted. That's where I saw it. Jeff Hoker Trucking, great guy, does a lot for the super late model industry, is on the side of RTJ and Bobby Pierce, so he knows how to pick them too. Maybe he's a Bob Baffert or something of the damn late model world. But regardless, here's what Ricky Thornton Jr. had to say. Devastation. We hit a rut and made contact with another car early in the race. Our guys worked as quickly as they could to replace all of the right front suspension, but we didn't make it back out in time. We rode around at the track or at the back to finish the race in 8th, one of the 7 cars to finish the race on the track. Like I said, only a few cars finished. We will be scored 3rd in Lucas Oil points. We are ultimately in the entertainment industry. This is true, but it's also our livelihood. We dedicate virtually every minute of our lives to this. A lot of people will say a lot of things tonight, but not very many truly understand what it takes or what losing out on that championship means. Fans deserve to be entertained, but race teams deserve decency too. Ooh, that's a little bit of a shot. I think there's a happy medium, and I don't necessarily think it's what happened tonight. It really is heartbreaking, but it's going to be okay too. We are heading back to the shop. We will unload and wash tomorrow, and we will prepare for this weekend at East Alabama. Still a dream of a season, still set records, still so proud of how our team carried themselves. This wasn't the end for us. Our great team owners, the Burns family, will allow us to continue to live this dream. Which this is a better story in my opinion than Kyle Larson's racing career. Just for the record, this guy threw the car on the trailer on the flatbed and went and got it done in everything he stepped in. Including a non-wing sprint car victory. Still set records. Hold on, let me see. Still set records. We have more races to win this year, next year, for years to come. This was Ricky's 3rd full year racing super late models. There's so many good things to come. Thank you to Anthony Burrows for being a great leader. Thank you for his longtime girlfriend, Darla Hyde, for the sacrifices she makes to be on the road with the guys. Thank you to DJ Williams and Chris Jaco for working 7 days a week, every single week without complaint. Thank you to their families and loved ones who support them and understand when they miss holidays and birthdays too. Thank you to our great fans who allow our family to be together on the road by buying merchandise. Thank you for your support and kind words this weekend. Shay Thornton posted that significant person in Ricky Thornton's life. Now, something that happened. I wanted to put that out there because obviously the post right there says late model lucky dog. Hudson O'Neal given a championship or given a lap / championship. And what this is all around. Oh, hold on. There was some U.S. dirt track stuff that people were basically that's what I want to say. What this is all about is apparently there is a lucky dog award in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. And what is that even to begin with? A lucky dog. Well, just like this chase, this is an idea that NASCAR came up with back in the late 2000s, I believe, right after Dale Sr.'s wreck, I believe is when they started instituting a few years within that era, the 2000s era of NASCAR, where some favorite drivers, I would say they did this for ratings. This is why they instituted a lucky dog. Some very good drivers would have a flat tire early in the race, have to make a pit stop, go 2 laps down, blah, blah, blah. And they started seeing in the money department, the ratings department for them, which is the money in their eyes, They saw how when their stars would go out and it's almost impossible to come back from 3 or 4 laps down without a lucky dog. Well, I'll explain what that is. I guess that's what I'm trying to set up. They would notice that their audience would tune out. You know, Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s out of the race on lap 100. I'm not going to watch the race. I'm here to watch him potentially win the race, or Jeff Gordon, any of the stars of the sport. So they institute a lucky dog. And basically what a lucky dog was, kind of in NASCAR, is a little bit different. Basically, first car 1 lap down on the track, you get your lap back. I think a lot of people may remember when this played a factor in Martinsville in those 2000s eras with Jeff Gordon. He had an issue early in the race and came back, I believe, from 4 laps down to win that event. And he was only able to do that because of the lucky dog, which I believe that was the first year they instituted the rule. Don't hold me to that. But regardless, that's kind of what the lucky dog is. The lucky dog gives the first car a lap down, their lap back. Now, there was a very interesting situation during the Dirt Track World Championship where Hudson O'Neal was a lap down. And he's the champion. Y'all are like, what? Some of you sprint car people are like, this actually happened? Yes, this actually happened. So he was actually a lap down, and there was a car in front of him, a lap down, who was the actual first car a lap down. And the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series gave him the lap back. So for late model diehards who kind of understand this rule and understand this lucky dog, and it happened and announced and shown, they see it as Hudson O'Neal was just given a lap, which ultimately ended up to him being given a championship. And all day today on the social medias, that's all people can talk about, is how there was a car ahead of him a lap down, and he got the lucky dog, not being the first car a lap down. So we did a little research. We talked to some people, sent Scott a message. Can't tell you who that is. And we have the answer to what actually happened. And this is also a little bit of an explanation from team owner / driver here. And it says, so the lucky dog goes to, as we explained, to the first car that is 1 lap down. Key point right here. This is why I didn't help Ricky Thornton Jr. out, who was several laps down. You can only receive the lucky dog 1 time per race. So if you get it and then go back another lap, you do not get it again. It goes to the next guy in line. So when Hudson O'Neal got the lucky dog, being the second guy in line 1 lap down, he got it because the 10 car of Smith had already got his lucky dog earlier in the race. So Hudson O'Neal was the first car 1 lap down in line that hadn't gotten it yet. So that is why, and this, I feel like that just blows some of these late model fan minds who are watching this, who've been indulging into this conspiracy theory. And I know I love the clickbait. Look at this. He's like, oh, Chaz is gonna, he's got it. He sees what we see. No, I see what you see, but I also add a little logic to it. Y'all are not the sprint car community. See, I respect you late model people. I respect the late model fans. I respect the late model drivers of the teams, because y'all are real man out there busting your ass on race cars. Y'all's fan base loves late model dirt, late model drivers more than any other driver. Y'all don't have a cold trickle effect on your fan base for the last 30 years where the star of your industry is a 5-year-old in a go-kart who goes to 14 in a sprint car and then 20 in cup, like we've had to suffer since Cold Trickle, Jeff Gordon's, Tony Stewart's, Casey Kane's, you name the list now, Kyle Larson, Bell, whatever. Y'all don't have this psychological manipulation issue that has been put onto you by Scientology and Tom Cruise. So I actually respect y'all enough to do a little bit of research and give you a real fair opportunity and chance to tell you what I actually think. If y'all are the sprint car community, I would run with this shit. I would say, oh, this excuse here, that's an excuse. We all know the fix is in. Because them some bitches over there don't understand anything but a damn joke, because that's about all the damn shit that they are, is a big ass joke, because they defend this thing that's happened in this sprint car community for 30 years, and they play the show, and they're going to get close probably to being into the gambling industry. We're probably going to be able to place bets on the sprint cars way sooner. Well, actually, the Knoxville Nationals had gambling lines last year, but Barstool don't know how to set their lines. Regardless, they're going to be the ones to get implemented into the real show out there eventually in the sports gambling world that moves every money you could think of under the table. So my point here is I'm going to give y'all the respect that y'all deserve, because there wasn't a NASCAR driver one that your fans drove out and came to see. It didn't give a damn if he had come from dirt. Y'all ain't suffered from this psychological issue. So I'm giving y'all some fair opportunities and some realistic chances here to understand what I'm saying. I'm taking y'all seriously. Because I can. Because y'all take it seriously. Ricky Thornton Jr., just read what you got there from one of the baddest ass racers. Now, very interesting point that Ricky Thornton Jr., the person who posted this through Ricky Thornton Jr.'s acceptance, I'm assuming. Interesting thing that they said right here was that, it is an entertainment industry, but it's also our livelihoods. We dedicate virtually every minute to it. And it also talked about fans deserve to be entertained, but teams deserve decency too. This is actually my first time reading these paragraphs. I do it live. Hey, this is reality for me and for y'all. Authenticity is what you're going to get at the Chaz. This ain't some script with the little bullet points that I'm going to read like the other guys. This is legitimately real. But at the end of the day, I do think that this chase situation is badass in how it operates. I think that there could be a little bit of a mixture or a turn to how they get placed in. Like I was saying earlier today to some people, I was like, well, maybe, you seed them on the final race. One guy gets a 4-point gap. Maybe there's like a little point gaps between the point leader, second, third, and fourth. You have like, if you're the points leader going into that damn thing, you should have like a 5-car gap. So if you was to finish fourth and the guy you're against finishes second, you still win the championship because you performed well all through the year. That wanted to save Ricky Thornton Jr., but a guy who performs on a Ricky Thornton Jr. Level is possible. Haven't we been seeing here recently how one guy can literally go out there and just dominate a year or a series or a season? I mean, this year's Ricky Thornton Jr. on the Lucas side. Let's not forget about Bobby Pierce. Jeff Hoker, once again, just knows all the badasses of the world. But Bobby Pierce is doing something special over there in the World of Outlaw series. But just for the sprint car community, the Lucas Oil Late Model Series is kind of considered the World of Outlaw top of the echelon, and the World of Outlaw Late Model Series is kind of considered as the lower roster of the two. We may get to that very soon with this high limit all-star merger deal. We may get to this situation where we're talking like this. We may get to that because we don't have that structure anymore where it's just outlaws to all-stars, especially with the implement of the high limit merger and whatever's going to happen over there with their big, WCW versus WWE that is just basically promoting the sport overall. All once again, back to the show and the theater. But anyway, I do think that, it's a little closer than what people think out there. But as far as this chase situation is concerned, we know that guys can go out there and run a full damn year and kick some ass. I mean, Ricky Thornton Jr. this year, Jonathan Davenport last year, year before. I mean, what Brandon Overton. We've seen the years that Scott Bloomquist has had. We've seen years that Jimmy Owens has had, and this is a little bit further back. Obviously, I think the world's a little bit more competitive now, but if you're going to say it's more competitive than ever and you can't really do all that, I mean, Ricky Thornton Jr. did break Scott Bloomquist's win record. So you can have that situation. So it is possibly smart to be able to implement a situation where, when you go to this Eldora deal or whatever, if this event moves to another track like it has, I think it's great at Eldora. Eldora is an amazing stage. Maybe this time of year, it's not necessarily the best stage just because of climate that time of year and how it is. But they did say that the weather is beautiful the other, before the race and after the race, the weekend before and the weekend after. So I don't know if it's going to move, whatever. I'm just saying it might be smart to let that points leader have a 4-car. Let's not even call it points. Let's just say cars. You got a 4-car cushion. And then second place, you got a 4-car cushion on third. Fourth place has a 4-car cushion on fourth. So fourth could still win the damn championship. It's just going to be really hard. You're just going to have to win the damn race or finish second and have everyone else suck. But that's the price you have to pay because these other guys kicked your ass all year long, and we're going to award them for being consistent. We don't need to become TikTok. We don't need to become the low attention span society where things just get flipped and flopped around. We're not going to support that way of living. We're not going to support the low attention spans. We're going to still provide entertainment that leads to some type of duration, because we want fans who are a fan of our sport to watch us for a duration of the time. Because if you destroy the importance of the rest of the year, why, as a new fan or someone you're trying to attract with this marketing scheme, why would they even tune in for the rest of the year if that last race is all that's going to matter and everything that happens prior to that doesn't matter at all, really? Come on. I mean, you kind of have 4 top badass guys in each series. Luke Soul, you could say 6 or 7. But you kind of have 4 top badass team driver combos every year. And you know who they are by the time you get to June in the late model division. So we're already going to know who those 4 are locked in and who's badass by, May or June next year. But we need to make it to where I think racing within that is a little bit more feasible. Now, I understand the argument or the copycatting ways of minds and thinking that have implemented over here into the Lucas Oil ways of life. The chase thing that y'all created is from NASCAR. This lucky dog thing is from NASCAR. So you're trying to learn from a failing organization. You're not learning from the NFL or UFC and tournament style knockouts and all this other stuff. And you got to, all these things. You're not going to do like, the last 8 weeks, we're going to lock in the top 10 in points, and each 2 weeks, the lowest finishers knocked out, and we have a knockout every single week. You're not gonna learn from successful organizations. No, you're gonna learn from NASCAR, who almost literally fell off the block here in the last couple of years. They had to develop a whole new car to even save their industry. They needed a guy to say the N-word and go back to dirt racing to even bring the dirt racing fans back. Y'all needed that. You needed Bubba Wallace on an election year kneeling and Kyle Larson saying that you needed this. You needed everything else but the racing on the track to survive. But we in the dirt world, for some reason, say what they're doing is very smart. Let's learn from the failing organizations known as NASCAR. We're not going to listen to these other organizations or look and see how we could implement real entertaining formats to our racing. We're not going to be innovators. We're going to be followers. You say in NASCAR and Chase, on the final race, they don't matter. They reset all the damn points, and we go into Phoenix, and the top finisher of those 4 cars, there ain't no damn points cushions. There ain't nothing like that. The top 4, y'all go at it. Here we go. This is the race. This is what's going to happen. Now, I understand that this race weekend was supposed to be more than one night. It was supposed to be 2. But you can't control Mother Nature once again. And if you ain't going to race into Monday or into Tuesday or guarantee that you get 2 nights of racing in, you're really screwing it up to try to add some equality to multiple nights and institute some type of consistency, making it a more than one night event. So it's a really interesting way to look at it like that, like the failing organization known as NASCAR, and try to implement the one race, everything's on the line. Let's see who's got it. It don't matter that we could race road courses, super speedways, 1.5 miles, 2.0s, dirts and Bristols and all that. We're just going to leave it up to one guy or one team who knows how to drive this one track really well, and that's your champion, and that sells, because that's what made them so great and grand over the last 20 years. But regardless, I do think the excitement of this event was really well. I'm not going to take credit all the way away, even though the credit should go to NASCAR more so than anybody who formulated this chase and Lucas. Anyone who's trying to say we did this for the excitement factor. Okay, that's like saying we did this, we created this play where you hike the ball and we fake it to the running back, but then we keep the ball and we throw it to the receiver, and it's exciting, and we did it. When really that's just a play action pass. You didn't do shit. You just copied someone. I mean, yeah, you may have spun it. Maybe you let off with your left foot or right foot, or you did the cutoffs throughout the entire season, but you don't take any credit for doing it. We everyone knows where the credit is deserved. Just go down to Concord or Charlotte or whatever and give them an award for creating this idea. It wasn't nobody in the industry that maybe implemented it, but okay, you implemented somebody else's playbook. Okay, where's the credit? That's the guy who deserves the credit. Don Shula, the shit, you know? I mean, regardless, I am still going to give credit to NASCAR, I guess, once again, that this was a really badass, eventful race. I mean, it was, even though I felt like the announcers really over-exaggerated what Tyler Carpenter was doing, even though he was coming through the field, we all knew that he was just burning his stuff up within the first 30 laps, whether that's tires or equipment, junking it on the top side of the track. We knew by lap 40 or 50 that wasn't going to work. Anyone who watches late model racing at all, really, on a halfway semi-consistent basis. I mean, I semi-consistently watch it and have been in the pits and understand it, and I knew what was going to happen there. I don't hate Tyler Carpenter. I thought that they were trying to make that such a big deal when that was happening because of what just happened with RTJ. I thought they were trying to smear that, oh, don't worry about that no more. Let's watch Tyler Carpenter do this. You know, they were just trying to distract from the fallacy that just occurred. But I do think that one event was really badass. You know, I do think it was. I think it was cool. I think it needs some shifting. I think it needs some alterations. Even the knockout deal, if they come out with that, please just Don Shula me as well. I think we should Don Shula NASCAR and give them all the credit for whatever excitement y'all felt and whatever reason you thought Sunday was so cool and so amazing. We need to give all the credit to NASCAR because they are the originators of this idea. And I don't think that it is fair to give credit to anyone else but NASCAR for creating this scenario. Just saying. Isn't that fair? Just saying. I ain't making a joke of it. That's reality. This, though, this Ricky Thornton Jr. deal still bugs me. And everyone's been posting all day, Ricky Thornton's the real champion, blah, blah, blah. And those same people were saying the Hudson O'Neal lucky dog, blah, 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 was the reason that it happened, and they gave him a lap. We just explained to you how that works. Everything was fine. Yeah, he was the second car, one lap down, but Smith had already received his lucky dog, so it goes to the next car in line, which was Hudson O'Neal. So fair and square. Conspiracy denied. What do you think about those apples? Let's see if the chat room is doing anything right now. Probably not. You people ain't chatting it up. Ain't nobody watching. When we getting broke Joe commentary, we will hear soon. You going to Charlotte? I do not know. NASCAR will go the way of the Buffalo in the next 20 years. I don't know what that means. Eldora hasn't been the same since they resurfaced it. I don't know what happened with that resurfaced dirt. Of course, I was there. I was the one who went live when they were pulling the old surface out at the Million last year prior to that event. And I don't know where they took that dirt after that race. It doesn't look like it's got new dirt. I think they had a hellacious amount of rain, and that's what happened there. There will be another regional tour to fill that gap left by the All-Stars, probably. I don't think that's happening with the All-Stars in the High Limit Series. I think what's about to happen is they're just going to rebrand. Like, we went to the website the other day with the All-Stars, and their website's not renewed. And I made this point when we were doing our talk show with Jeremy Elliott. And if you go to the... Why is that showing that? Oh, what's going on here? Why is it not showing what's updated here? There we go. If you go to their website and you see it says not secure up here on the top left, and if it should highlight, and you can see how this or they call it a damn, I can't believe why it slipped my mind, a SSCL or something like that. It's basically SSL certificate. Wow, I do websites for a living. How could that slip my mind? Ain't done one in a minute. But it says your connection is not secure to this website. That means that this SSL certificate has not been renewed. So this website is not going to stay around much longer. It may become the property of High Limit, and they may change it up. I don't know if there's an email list they want to keep. I believe it is a My Race Pass website. I'm not sure on that, but that's how this is sort of like the template that My Race Pass offers a lot of the drivers in building websites. I can do one better. Just send me an email or message. We can make them way better than that. But no, I'm just kidding. They do real badass websites. This is a nice website. It's not coming back. I think that's what is going to happen here is that the regional event racing series style things that you have with the All-Star Circuit of Champions are going to stay as they are. Like, I think next year's schedule will mirror what the All-Stars did. Will it be the All-Star Circuit of Champions based on this SSL certificate not being renewed? I think that they're going to just turn all of what All-Stars was and make it high limit events. And that's it. And it's going to be the same style schedule, but they're going to branch out, maybe more than 12 midweek races with the high limit, or with the overall series that will now be high limit. I think that All-Stars the name may go away, which is unfortunate. But this high limit does have a lot of new blood, kind of hype around it. More people are hearing when they search sprint cars right now on Google. If you type in sprint car racing, high limit is what the world is seeing right now. They've done a real good job of the marketing department. They have instantly in 1 year destroyed the new eye relevance of sprint car racing compared to the World of Outlaws. You have to go down the page to see the World of Outlaw name at all. So I think in the new way of viewing it, even though the All-Stars have the heritage with being the first national sprint car tour, I think it is very smart in a way to just rebrand everything the All-Stars is doing as high limit, keep the same schedule, same thing, maybe bump the purse up just a little bit more now that you have the hype and high limit and the money being pumped in and supported of the series. I mean, name what name that Kyle knows that would just jump on. Yeah, let's do it. So I think instantly you're going to have a similar schedule to the All-Stars that is bumped up in pay. It's going to be called High Limit Sprint Car Series. And I think these 12, I think they might do more than 12 midweek shows, will be High Limit Sprint Car Series high roller events. I think that's how they're going to do that. There'll be a high roller event schedule within the new high limit full-time sprint car series schedule. And if they were smart, they would kind of, and I think this is kind of what I'm thinking they're doing. I ain't talked to nobody about this, but I'm really good at understanding how they want to do it. If they're smart, and once again, taking a playbook from someone else, I think that they would do something similar to how the MAV or Lucas Oil Series used to have the TV series schedule. And that TV series schedule was a regular Lucas Oil late model series event. It usually paid a lot more money, but there was also a mini series points championship within those TV races. So for instance, if this happens, those high roller events that are midweek that would pay really big money next year, for instance, there would be a points championship series within those events as well. That is also separate from the high limit sprint car series championship. That would also probably reward drivers who are regular, with more so pit pass, etc., and typical loyalty-based earnings within the series. But you would also have an opportunity for somebody like a Rico who wants to maybe go run some other bigger events. He don't want to be full-time high limit. He'll run a bunch of it, but maybe there's some outlaw events where he can make some big money, and he wants to go run those. I don't see Rico doing a full all-star / high limit, high roller schedule type deal. I see him still running a bunch of outlaw events that pay big money and missing a high limit event or two. And that's why I think if you stick with a 12 or to 15 midweek kind of high roller events within the high limit series, and those races still count towards the overall points championship, but those series events in itself create a sub-series kind of TV series-based championship, I think that would add to the appeal as well on how, and honestly make a little bit more sense on how these two things can come together a little more smoothly, and also add in some, different things. The other different thing that I think could happen, starters are optional. All these things that we're going to allow a bigger cockpit area in the frame of the car for leg room or something. Whatever. He's already mentioned how he might want starters in sprint cars. Now he has the opportunity owning a big major series that he can implement optional starters on these sprint cars and say by 2027 or 2026 or 5, you could do it by 2025. By 2025, next year they're optional, but by 25 they're mandatory. I mean, they want to do that with the, fire suppression systems for safety. Well, let's now do stuff for the speed of the show, the quality of the show, and getting the show rolling and going. So, interesting things that could potentially happen. But that's how I see those two things folding together. Let's look at the chat and see if that has changed at all. See, so now the chat over here. Okay, that's what happened. It was my mistake. My mistake on the chat there messing up. Need to run both wing and non-wing, just like the Outlaws. Nope, that's too traditional. No one wants to watch non-wing anymore. There's no competition within it. That's a cool idea, Chaz. I wonder if they would try to sell this high roller midweek thing to cable TV networks like the Outlaws did. I think at the end of the day, like Broke Joe, we're going to go and read what he has to say. Just like he was telling me in California. So you're telling me it comes down to the money, Chaz. And I think Flow Racing and the situation they have with the Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet relationship is very lucrative for Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson and the people involved in the tracks and the things going on. Very, very lucrative. And I don't think that the exposure a TV network could provide them is going to outweigh the money that falls onto them on those midweek events, personally. That's what I think. I don't know. Will High Limit be smart enough to piggyback NASCAR races midweek? I think that is for sure going to happen. Eldora and Huset's need to get the Cedar Lake dirt for the better quality of show. Eldora's dirt's fine. Huset's is really bad. I feel bad for them. So much effort put into that track. And the dirt is not what I think a lot of people like. I mean, it may be a hard pill to swallow, but I don't think anyone likes that situation at Huset's. If I don't, and I got so many reasons to dislike the facility, but I mean, I feel bad for it. I don't like it. I mean, I want to see that track do good. And I love short tracks, and I like short tracks to always have action. And I feel like sometimes Huset's, because of the dirt, it doesn't get to provide that. If that place would just widen out and stay slick for 15 or 20 laps, it would be unreal, amazing. But that just doesn't seem to happen. Cedar Lake dirt is amazing. I mean, we saw Cedar Lake, the amazing show it put on, I think a week after Huset's it was. A week after Huset's, it was an amazing race just because that dirt could do that. Eldora, I think, does that. The race, the ruts, the stuff like that, that was just a product of a lot of rain, guys. Don't overreact. Don't try to say Eldora and Huset's dirt is the same. That's just not right. It does rut up. If anything gets a lot of water on it, it ruts up and ruins the show. I mean, Eldora had that situation this year at the Kings Royal, and everybody just had to stay low. Nobody wanted to test those ruts. They didn't have a big body around them. They know what can happen if things go wrong. The Hunt Series mandated starters for years didn't speed up the show at all, but the Hunt Series also is a very rookie-based series. I believe that's where Dylan Bloomfield started at 18 years old or 13 years old. The Hunt Series is a very rookie league, and the reason that didn't speed up the show is because they're non-wing with rookie drivers, and flips and wrecks occur. So I don't think that's a fair comparison. Hopefully Rigsman, Larson, Flow don't continue to implement more NASCAR mistakes. I think Brad Sweet's going to protect that. You know, I really do. I mean, some people don't like Brad. I think his intentions could be, mixed. Me personally, I think that Brad Sweet is okay with going to do the promotional gig with this high limit situation, just because I think he found out real quick that if you promote events correctly, you can make more money in one event that goes right than you could make racing a race car all year long. And you ain't got half the pressure to perform and have to throw dirty sliders and race people back and potentially die tonight, and I can make 3 times or 2 times or more money than the whole year racing. Let me take that old job over here. Let's go on a vacation every now and then. That's what I think. So I think Brad Sweet is very happy with what's happening, and I think he's going to also be a voice in that room that could give dirt track reason, because he did go to NASCAR and got kicked out for the wrong reasons. I think not kicked out, but fell out for the wrong reasons. Didn't get the opportunity. I bet you got to see how that world works, and I don't think he is a big fan of it. So I think we got one voice in the room that could potentially help that situation out. Yeah, let them run a starter and brand it high limit hybrid. That's funny. A lot of people in Indiana are still watching non-wing, bro. I understand, but that's only Indiana. Just saying. Trophy Cup fiasco. We're about to talk about that. High Limit is back at Eagle Raceway during Iowa Speedway NASCAR Week, from what I've been told, in 2024. To me, that is stupid, Travis. I'm sorry. Why a high limit sprint car race? Is it going to go to Boone or go to Marshalltown on the Iowa Speedway NASCAR Week, or Davenport? That would be the dumbest scheduling. And this is why they don't want me. Even though some people were just suggesting I need to become the High Limit Sprint Car Series announcer and kind of help Brad run stuff. If I was in the room and they said like shit like that, I don't care if it's Rick Hendrick, Dale Jr. and Kyle and Denny Hamlin or whoever's in the damn room. And this is why they don't like me, because I'm going to tell you what I think, and it's probably more time than right. I would say that's the dumbest fucking idea I've ever. I'm sorry to cuss, but if that's true, I'm pissed off. I'm mad because you got these racetracks like Davenport Speedway, unbelievable. You got these tracks like Marshalltown. Now, I get the safety aspect, but these are race cars. These ain't safe cars. If you're worried about getting hurt, go buy you a damn hybrid and stay on the road. For those who aren't afraid and understand that life is going to end no matter what you try to do, it's going to end one day, get on the racetrack and let's go to Marshalltown. Because that's one of the baddest ass racetracks in the country. It's unfortunate that IMCA racing is the hound of the entire Iowa state of racing, and Knoxville's the only hint of Iowa racetracks we get, kind of. I mean, because there's some other racetracks, some short tracks in Iowa that are just bad-ass racing. And racetracks, the shapes, the bankings, the dirt, it's really good. So I'm gonna move on from this, because I could sit here and bitch for another half hour or two. If they do that, Eagle Raceway during Iowa Speedway at NASCAR with Marshalltown and Davenport and Boone, even though Boone I don't think would be a better race. There's a ton of other tracks around closer. That would be just dumb. That would be the dumbest cake I've ever eaten in my life. Why does Kyle Larson make you jealous, Chaz? I don't understand what that even meant. Maverick Sprint Cars is a new 14 wing series that's coming out next year for Indiana. The race at Lincoln Park had 49 cars. Looks like it will be successful. Okay. Well, you say you have 49 cars because you had a 410 winged race in Indiana. And I'm saying you have 49 cars because you had Roger Crockett and a bunch of these sprint car people's Jesus Christ come and land there and say, come to my service. And 49 people showed up, and he paid the money to do it. So that's why that was successful. I'm interested to see how the Maverick Sprint Cars do. I think there's some great tracks in Indiana that don't have, there's just not a good 410 wing situation there. Hopefully it does work out. That would be great. I'm just definitely not a big fan of non-wing racing, and I like non-wing racing. The reason I don't like current non-wing racing, listen for those who are actually listening, is I don't think there's a high amount of competition in non-wing sprint car racing right now. I don't think that I can't think of a lot of badass racing prospects here in the last 4 or 5 years that have grown up wanting to go race non-wing for a living. They don't pay enough money. They don't get no clout or respect nationally all year long. You have to go to the Chili Bowl and get right-reared by little boys and girls to maybe get your name out there. I mean, it's just the non-wing world just doesn't have the competition. It just doesn't. I know that it's got some good drivers in there. I'm not denying the greatness of a Justin Grant or a T-Mez or some of these other guys. They're really, really good. I just think that the competition level in 360 sprint car racing is about the same. Honestly. I think I put 360 sprint car racing and non-wing sprint car racing on the same level as far as amount of competitors that have a decent amount of driving skill. And there are some guys in 360 sprint cars who are really badass that could do well in World Outlaw racing. They just ain't got the money or the budget or the opportunity. I think you could say that about Justin Grant, some of these other guys. And then some people just want to go home every week, like the people in PA and the people in Indiana that want to go race on the weekends, make a decent amount racing, and come home. And the road life isn't what they want. So, but regardless, nationally, I just don't see non-wing racing as an extremely high competitive form of racing. I see it down there with 360 sprint cars, IMCA modifieds, which IMCA modifieds probably, they're really up there, so I should probably be wrong. Dirt car modifieds for sure. Dirt car modifieds and non-wing sprint cars are about the same level of skill set. There's Nick Hoffman's in there, that the Justin Grant. There's some really good guys in there, but overall, In comparison to everyone else, like IMCA and USMTS, you are just a couple, you are a division lower. You just are. As far as competition is concerned. That's how I think about it. That's what I think about it. There's no one even close to these guys like Grant, Bacon, Axum, and in 360s, dude. Oh, why are you going to tell me that? Kaylee Bryson went down and raced USCS and could barely make the A main, got smoked. This is a girl who I thought was really badass. And honestly, this opinion of USAC is because of what I saw. This is a girl racer who I thought was really badass, traded sliders, beat the list on a couple occasions in some heat races and stuff. She's beat those guys you just listed, and she couldn't keep up with USCS. I didn't say ASCS. I didn't say Chico. I think Chico's more competition. I didn't say, URC. I said USCS. I'm done. I'm stopping right there. Corey Day, Outlaws or High Limit All-Stars. Depends on who pays more. That's going to be a bidding driver. They're going to start paying these drivers to commit to one or the other. I hope that the High Limit will at least run non-wing support class to get people more excited about them. Yes, that's a great idea. That's awesome. I think that's great. This whole discussion started because the dude said they should run non-wing and wing. I mean, it's just, no. But yeah, you want to run a 360s non-wing as a support class because you might get some 305 guys in there and stuff. I mean, do something that's fun for the non-wing guys. That's great. That's awesome. But I do not think that GED makes money. I do not think that it should be a split series situation. I just don't think that. Anyways, let's get to Broke Joe. Broke Joe has something to say about the Trophy Cup. You just mentioned Corey Day. This is something that is going to be very, very hard for people to hear what Broke Joe has to say about this guy, Roger Crockett. I hope that's not the same racing Roger Crockett. If it is, I lost also an unbelievable amount of respect. I don't care what you guys say. I mean, the Bryson deal is not a great example, but I'm just telling you, what talent is going to USAC sprint cars? Who wants to go? You got the non-wing national champions trying to leave the damn shit. Golly, guys, Tyler Courtney's an anomaly. Tell me what Chris Wyndham's wing sprint car record is right now. Come the hell on, you people. Y'all are worse than the damn Viking fans. Just ignoring reality. I can't stand you people. You people who look at... We're about to talk about it with Broke Joe. We've been talking about it with Broke Joe. The people who see the truth and don't want to admit it. You see the truth. There's no denying what this is. But you don't want to admit it. Okay. Broke Joe has some opinions on this Trophy Cup. Here we go. Oh, somebody said Comacito. It's on now. Oh, wrong one. Why is this messed up? I think I know why it's messed up. It was my fault. Yeah, we're fixed now. So this is the email show letter. He says it, today's email show, I guess. Show email. Back to dyslexia. I think I have it. It's too many times. I do it all the time. Maybe I'm thinking too far ahead. And, I'm trying to remix it for myself. But this is a very long, thought-out documentation of the situation at the Trophy Cup. I haven't read it all the way. I've just kind of browsed. I had it here. I was like, oh, okay. But this is what he has to say. And somebody went to Joe crying about how I have my screen when I'm playing, blah, 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 blah. Go to hell. I run my stuff, you don't. And you can try to bully Joe to tell me like people bully Justin Sanders to tell Joe, but I ain't gonna listen. Sorry. He says, hello, Chazzers. Welcome to the Broke Joe's Trophy Cup Review. That's what this is, ladies and gentlemen. Broke Joe's Trophy Cup Review. I've seen more kids under 20. He's got a quotation here. This is a quote. I've seen more kids under 20 turning left or right on cars this year than ever in my life. It's ridiculous, and it's going to get someone killed. These aren't go-karts. Dominic Selzy. Okay, so that's the quote. Let's see what he's got here. How to Make a Clean Pass by Dominic. This is the introduction. This is apparently what Dom wanted to show, I guess, how he just worded that. That's how it sounded. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. Freaking ads. I guess they got their ad in. So that's Dominic Scelzi. And then I guess a Dustin Freyas or whatever. Dominic's in the white car. This Freyas is on the bottom. Oh! Whoa! Hold on. Let's look at this. What did this idiot... How old is this? Is this a kid? Oh my God. So, when I see this right here... Wow. Turned right. Right as Dominic just got through saying this. This is what... I don't know if this is a kid or what. But I'll tell you what. If I was Dominic when that happened... I'm about... All these kids are watching me. They're ready to jump on top of me for doing what I called them out on. I'm about to show them what an old driver does, you know. And if they're watching and they see me get drove like that, now I get to send a message to all these kids who think that they're going to come after me because of my Facebook post. All these people. I'm going to send a message. What I would do is send a message. Let's see what he does. Oh, he didn't put him in the wall. He gave him, oh, wow, nice, tough racing there. Let's see what happens. He's probably still pissed off, though. Let's see if he sends an example. Oh! Wow. So, what this looks like to me is Dominic Scelzi just sent a message to all you people out there who want to get back at him for his Facebook post. If you come out there and say, well, I'm gonna show him, I'm gonna teach him his lesson, eat your words in a sense, because that seemed to be like what that was. Although he did get a pretty good hook up there. It's hard. It's not like these cars have mirrors. You know, he don't know that he was that close. Although he should have gave a line like most should. But he did come down here and race him pretty clean, but he did almost put him in the wall. But he could have turned him and put him in the wall straight up. But I think what Dominic's saying here is if you're going to come and still do these kids, here's what's coming. Tell Daddy to break the checkbook out and pay for it. That's what he's sending. That's the message I'm sending. I'm seeing. I mean, maybe that's not the message. Maybe Dominic's just... That's how he drives. We did see the video with the Golubic situation, but that was years ago. I don't really see Dominic being super dirty on a consistent basis. I mean, everybody races hard, but this was definitely put into a car. So I guess Joe wants me to see how Dominic sends a message to the kiddies. And then he's got down here Ashton learning from Dom. Now, this is Ashton Torgerson. Very interesting last name here, but this is Ashton Torgerson in the O2 car, and he's saying Ashton learning from Donnie, or Dommy, or whatever he said. But so far, I see that Dominic was sending a message to all the kids that if you try to come and make me pay for my Facebook post about driving over the top of people and you try to put me in the wall, this is what I'm going to do to you. So I don't know what he means by this is Ashton learning from Dom. But let's see what, hopefully the Zero or somebody tries to run over Ashton here, maybe. Whoa, and that's Tim Kading in the Zero car, by the way. But I didn't see TK do anything to him. But he does just, it kind of proves Dom to be right, I guess, because he does just go in here and drive over into somebody. So I don't get this. I don't see, there isn't nothing, no, there's nothing prior to where TK ran Torgerson over. Like that guy did Dom, and there's no backstory here, I don't think, maybe, but I mean, Torgerson just goes in there and does what Dom says. And he has to pay his own bills again that he caused. I mean, look at that rear end, man. That's all the way over. That's not cheap. But I don't see the same thing here at all. I don't know what Joe actually means. If he would call in, he could maybe explain. We could argue about it. That would be great, but I'm not seeing it really. Or maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe this is like the what's going to happen letter. I don't know. Dave Crusader or Crusader? I don't know what this last name is, guys. How you say it? Founder of Trophy Cup telling Corey Day he always won the main event after DQ in the 16A, saying the rules are the rules. Okay, and this is about jumping a start, I believe. Something happened with jumping a start and then DQ'd for weight or something like that. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Not sure. Let me get the audio up for y'all.
You're the winner. Thank you. I don't think you win so much. That's right or wrong.
Kind of lost here. Once again, we need Joe, but I guess he said rules are rules. There's some stuff in here that I'm reading that Joe sent that says, but is it? At the drivers' meeting Thursday, the drivers were told anyone jumping I guess rules are rules. And for the record, what happened was Logan Seavey, who once again, most underrated sprint car driver, winged in the world. I believe he is on a Kyle Larson level without Kyle Larson opportunities. Lots of guys out there. But the 16A, driven by Logan Seavey, won the race, but then they got DQ'd for weight on the scales. And I guess what he's trying to say here, rules are rules, is what was being pointed out. And he's saying, but rules are rules, but is it? At the drivers' meeting Thursday, the drivers were told anyone jumping to start bringing out a yellow will be sent back a row. No exceptions. 69 car jumps, brings out yellow, not sent back a row. Oh, this would be bad. So somebody
Green
jumped and
comes
didn't
out,
get sent
and
back
that
a row?
quickly, I believe the yellow is going to come back out.
Yep.
Yes, front row, definitely askew. Definitely not a stellar start there.
So before we watch this, rules are rules. He says every time somebody jumps a start, they're getting sent back a row. No exceptions. I think Joe's trying to say that the 69 of Bud Kading jumped this start and didn't get rules as rules treatment.
Well, nice even pace into turn 3. A little bit out of shape, out of 4, and I don't think that one's going to stay in.
Now see,
Green comes out, and that quickly, I believe the yellow is going to come back out.
and they didn't put him back a row. Okay, confirming. But once again, I'm just not seeing this like Joe sees it. I mean, obviously, this is the guy, this gold car. He's the one who got the right rear from Selzy. So this guy's, I don't know who this guy is. I'm not hating you. I mean, I know you're trying to race. You were obviously fast enough to race with Dominic Selzy, so he must be a decent driver. But it seems like maybe a few mistakes being made here. One, intimidating Dominic, and two, or trying to intimidate Dominic. That didn't work out. Two, what is going on here? What is this guy doing? It's like he started to hit the brakes. I don't really see Bud Kading's car pick up much speed here. It doesn't really look like it's picking up speed. I mean, to confirm what I'm saying, that he wasn't picking up much speed, I mean, you got Golobic back here running him over. Pay attention to the 17 car here. I mean, Bud he's off the gas. Look at him. He's getting run over by Golobic, trying to let this guy catch up or whatever the hell this guy's doing. This guy doesn't know. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Look, he's slowing down. Look, he is slowed down. Now, can we all visually? I did not visually see that 69 pick up speed early. Not a significant amount like jumping on the throttle at all. Not even really rolling extremely faster. But we do see the 17 of Shane Golobic slamming into the rear end and multiple times because he's off the gas trying to let this guy catch up. But I do see something. I do see this guy's car slowed down significantly. Watch this car. Look at it. Slow down. Right there. Start slowing down right there. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It's like it died. It's like he went to get on the gas or something to pick up with Bud normally, and it just dies. Look at it fall. Look at that. And then gets on the gas there. I don't know what this guy, maybe he's an issue, but if I'm making this call and you can't make it, honestly, there should be a rule, though, for this. If you're this guy on the inside, you get penalized for unlogical starts or something, or not starting, not jumping. What would that be? What would be going backwards? You know, shifting like a lizard person? I don't know. But that guy should be penalized a row because he caused all of this to happen. And I would certainly not put Bud Kading back a row for this guy being an idiot on the racetrack. So where the hell is Joe when you need him? We would have already had like 3 heated fucking arguments over this because I'm just not seeing it how he sees it. Now I'm starting to see why some of these West Coast people are getting mad at Joe, saying he's biased and he's targeting certain drivers to get mad at. Obviously, we got Kading and Golobic involved. We know the back and Cole Macedo in the background in the third row. Oh my God, the trifecta of some of the 3 most people Joe's kind of talked not greatly of. I guess Bud Kading's kind of been left out of most, except when you equate Joey Bats. But I mean, this is the trifecta mafia row over here that Joe loves to go after. It seems like, and they didn't do shit wrong. And he's trying to say they are, and that he should be put back a row, no exceptions. What? Take the bias eyes off, sir. Oh my God, I hate to give the cartel credit, especially when it comes to Cartel versus Broke Joe. But for him to say that is not looking at this with fairness. This guy's off the damn throttle. The car's almost coming to a stop. Bud Kading's getting run over because he's trying to slow up to help this guy out. And what in the hell? This is 100% not Bud Kading's fault, and he wants him to lose a row. Wow. Man, we're on time. I can't believe this is happening, but I once again, on this show, you get authenticity. I tried to be not biased, even when it comes to like Houston, obviously Todd Corning's banned me from the tracks and stuff. I at least feel bad still for the track. I wish it was doing great, you know, in the service situation. It's the same thing here, even though I hear Joe and I feel like I should have some angst towards these guys, and I do know some stuff about them that isn't the greatest in the world, and I kind of may more than likely have issues with them too. But that doesn't matter when you're sitting here talking about racing and calls on the racetrack. You got to remove your biasness. And I don't know how you can look at this and see Bud Kading in the wrong. At all, period. Maybe Shane Golobic should have been bumped back a row because he's over there trying to push him to jump the damn start, but Bud Kading is innocent. This guy on the inside so far has caused all the kind of shit we could talk about. Is Joe, I bet you Broke Joe gave that guy some money or something. So this seems almost like a setup. Did Joey Bats go over to this guy? Because you know Joey Bats is working for Broke Joe. Did Joey Bats go over there and see this lineup and said, oh, the cartel's lined up on the outside. Let's get them, Joe. Joe called him and said, what's the lineup? And they find out it's the cartel guys on the outside, the Kading, the Golobic, and the Macedo Tarleton group. We got a chance to take them all out right here. And I'm thinking, if this is how Joe saw this, I'm thinking Joey Bats might have came up here and slipped this guy some money to try to get Bud Kading to fall to a jump start. Give him an example. Or went up to him, you know, Joey's talking to him, hey, wait, RAYVON, that's what it looks like. But really it's like, hey, you're on the pole, they're on the outside. Bud, we don't like him. Go out there. When they start to just normally, you know, go up for the start of the race, you just lift out the throttle and let's make sure that he jumps the start here and he gets put back a row. Just we don't like him. Something like that. See, I'm always looking at things from both sides here. Because I don't know what this guy did. Either that or he has some explainings to do. That car's off the throttle. It's backing up. I wouldn't be surprised if he ain't dragging the brake right here. It's falling back as he's getting run over. Golubic's getting run over. Or running over. Kading's getting run over. What are you trying to tell me? This is the Jamaican bobsled team back here and they're getting ready to go down to shoot and that's what this is all about? What the hell? Cool runners? I can't believe this. I don't even know if I want to go down this email. He wants that 69 to come back. I mean, 69 car jumps, brings out yellow, not sent back a row. And he's trying to say that the rules are rules in conveyance with this up here. Huh. Next day, he says, did Garcia jump? Gage Garcia, obviously a Tarleton relative. Once again, can anybody show me what that was before? Okay. Almost a very similar situation to the last video. I mean, Garcia definitely, you see the nose drop, even though it's a choppy video. You can see the nose drop right there, so he definitely got out of the gas. They can, obviously, Gage Garcia, a very young person. Just basically really a kid. So he may have jumped on there a little antsy. It's Trophy Cup, you know, but he did get out of it. He did get out of it. He's trying to get, I mean, that's almost an even start. I don't know. That's Kading to the inside, potentially playing some tricks, trying to get an advantage somehow. I mean, I still see Kading holding up that inside line. You see, look at the driver behind Kading. If you want to know how much Kading broke pace, once again, the inside car breaking pace way more than the outside car, causing this situation to happen. So maybe this was just like the theme of the night. Maybe it wasn't Joey Bats giving the guy money. So maybe this was happening all the time, because you can definitely see the inside car lose speed and not keep pace to his original pace, because pay attention to the red and white car to the right of you, and you'll see him slam into the damn back of Kading's car, because Kading, once again, just drops pace. So who's responsible for that? Is the outside car in all this responsible for the inside car trying to get the guy to jump? Maybe he don't like the guy on the outside. He wants to put him back a row. Maybe he don't think he can outrun the guy on the outside, so he wants him back a row. So he's going to try to force a situation where it looks like the outside car jumped, because he knows it's a no exception rule, and he wants that guy to be put back a row because he doesn't have the confidence to outrun him. Where's the punishment for that guy? Because I saw that in the last video, and I think I'm seeing it right here, even though I think Tim Kading should have, I mean, just whoop his ass, Tim. You're a bad motherfucker behind the wheel of a race car. I don't think Gage Garcia is on your level. Just kick his ass. There ain't no need to change your trajectory enough that the guy behind you almost breaks his damn wing off the car. Look at that. Bam. And once again, even though it does look like Gage Garcia gets this big, exaggerant lead from him at this point, that's ominously when Tim Kading gets off the throttle and just falls backwards. Look. So that proves to me that the zero car got out of the gas or hit the brakes. That's what that proves to me. And that's why it visually looks like Garcia gets that advantage over Kading. Because Kading gets out of the gas, hits the brakes, plays this game that it seems like was happening here due to this no exception jumping start situation. So far I see if he's wanting Garcia to be docked a row, I already gave you my explanation on why I think that's not the case. Maybe Kading should have been put back a row. Oh, no, he jumps off the edge here. He leads off by saying both calls benefited the California elite. Joe. So he's trying to say that because they didn't call jump starts on those cars, because the inside car made it happen by their inability to hold a proper pace and start a race with etiquette. He believes that both of these calls benefited the California elite due to normal, regular calls. If I was directing these races, those cars aren't going back either. The guy on the inside caused the problem. So this is what he had to say as far as jumps. We'll just agree to disagree, I guess, guys. He says, now the main event. The 16A was DQ'd for being 10 pounds light at the scales. This is pretty much a gallon and a half of fuel. This was the result of a badly run race by the track and race director. Here's the breakdown of laps turned by the 16A the second half of the race. 6 yellow flags, 2.5 green flags, followed by a red where they did not count the lap where at least 6 cars past started the finish line, adding lap to the race. 7 laps of yellow, 3.5 laps of green flags, followed by red where once again they did not count a lap. Many cars past the start finish line, adding a lap to the race. 4 yellow flag laps, 6 green flag laps, 6 yellows, 3 greens, 6 yellows, 14 green laps, race ends. 2 yellow laps after the checkered. Total laps, 31 under yellow, 29 under green, 60 laps in total. Total laps, 31 under yellow, 29 under green. I am from Texas. I should be able to do the math. I believe that is 60. Although those starts did not add up. The judgment of Joe's part did not add up. He says, also should point out Justin Sanders ran out of fuel with 3 laps to go, losing a top 5 finish in the race, and overall points cost the team over $3,000. Logan Seavey earned and deserved to be declared the winner of that race. It was not their fault that a race was run where they had to run more yellow laps than green. Declaring Day the winner of the main does not affect his pay as the overall champion. Was going to get the $29K regardless. But taking it away from the 16 car and CV does affect their pay. I encourage all drivers and owners in attendance to help overturn this injustice by sending an email to Dave at his dave@trophycity.com saying simply no 2024. It will take you less than 5 minutes, and if enough racers do it, I guarantee some action will occur. I guess he's trying to say due to long laps that got a car DQ'd, they should say no, they should boycott the race. Maybe he's trying to say due to all these things where rules are rules, and he's saying both of these were infractions and rules weren't rules. So how are you going to have a race last so long, 60 laps, and DQ a guy for 10 pounds after your inefficiency to run a race, and he's 10 pounds light because he did 60 laps total? If rules are rules, why wouldn't you have punished those guys for jumping the start? I already gave my opinion. I think it's unfortunate here. He's saying that they should boycott it, though. It will take you less than 5 minutes. I said in my goodbye letter, when you reach this level of success of a Justin Sanders, which is winning races, this will happen to you. And less than a week later, here we are. In closing, let's flash back to 2013. I was not there, but was told the next day and reminded yesterday on the phone of what happened after the race. Larson and Sweet were racing off the last corner and collided in turn 4 on the last lap, with Sweet coming to a stop and Larson limping to the finish with no yellow thrown. If it had, Larson would have not been able to continue, therefore losing the trophy cup. Instead, they let cars at speed race around the wreckage. This is very true. After the race, I was told Larson was light. I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure. Obviously, after he would flip, he would technically be light because parts flew off the car and weight and stuff damaged. You can see in the victory lane picture, his battered car is missing parts, part of bodywork, shock, Nerf bar, and part of the tire carcass. I was told they were picking up missing parts of the car and putting them on the scale to make weight. The final decision was due to the circumstances. It was okay for him to be light. That's what he was told. And after all rules are rules. Only video I could find of the event is at the 418 mark and play it to the end of the victory lane photo. Of course, this clip right here is interesting. What he says is pretty damn true because they did. Billion Auto getting an ad in here. Wow. Is it because YouTube heard me say Houston's a couple times? And now it's showing me a Billion Automotive commercial. Interesting. Interesting. Although they're not even close to where I live. This is where Larson and Brad Sweet racing for it. And what Joe says here about the wreckage and not throwing a caution and all that is very true. But then there's always, if the leader crosses the checkered flag, the race ends when the leader crosses the checkers. They've never restarted it. That's never happened in all of racing history. If the leader takes the checkered, the race is over. It's not like a caution. So it should have been a checkered caution at the same time. Because, yes, it should have been a caution for the wreck, but since the leader did maintain speed and did pass, I mean, I guess you could, I guess I'm wrong there in a way. Maintain speed's not really the case, I guess. Because, honestly, they probably should have thrown a caution a little earlier. Let's see how much speed he actually loses. I mean, he's still staying in it and going straight. Tires down, but it's not like he's flipping or anything. Yeah, I wouldn't throw a caution either. That's the right way to call that. So, yeah. Leader passes the checkered, race is over. Should have been a checkered yellow. Although, keep this picture in mind when I say that. I mean, there are a lot of cars coming by Brad Sweet's car that is flipped upside down in the corner. So you could have called the caution prior to the line, because obviously Brad Sweet's car is right there and you got these cars coming. That is not safe. What if they were side by side and a guy came wide ass open and slammed into Brad Sweet? That would have killed him. Look, imagine if there was an actual race car up there on the cushion running it wide ass open, and just his nose would go right into the side area of where Brad Sweet's sitting. So, at this point of the video, prior to Larson crossing, yes, there should have been a caution on this event. But, just like David Gravel hitting a cone, if I'm running this race, I'm being honest now, I don't know. I don't think I would. I don't think I would throw a caution if I was race directing and I cared about the show, the dramatical end. I would not ruin a great race finish like that because they tangled off a 4. I think I would be throwing a caution, a checkered, and then a caution. I think it is unfair. It is unfair, I think. If you're going rules is rules, because that guy was about to hit him. I mean, honestly, you probably should throw a caution if you care about life. I mean, look at this car coming. Look at this car coming. He's actually there. See the car coming for Brad Sweet over here? I don't know if you can see it. But if that guy's full bore, what's more important in this frame? Seeing Kyle win the race? Or even Kyle got out and said, did I win it? So I mean, I'm going to retract what I just said. Seeing what I'm seeing right there, I would probably throw the caution. But I get why they didn't. I get why they threw the checkered. It is Kyle Larson. I mean, this is how they operate. That you could be mad about that, but I don't know. It was a great race. 2 cars were just that much better than the rest of the field. and to take it away because they were racing for the lead on the final corner, that would be unjust for the competition element, in a way. In a way. You want the best guys to win, and I think Brad Sweeter Kyle was one of the best right there. So I'd let it slide maybe, but I don't know. Once again, that did look deadly. That did look deadly. That's a hard call. That's a hard call. That is a really hard call. That's a hard call. Anyways, let's see the chat. That was the last one there. We didn't agree with Joe tonight. We didn't see it the same as Joe this evening on some things. Wish he was on the phone so we could talk about it. Will we see Joe again? You know, he says if these guys disagree with the Chaz or disagree with Joe, come on and tell us. I mean, if he boycotts the show now because I didn't agree with them, I mean, hypocrisy is real. We'll see. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can get back to these. Yeah, he says I think Joe should be allowed to respond. Let's see here. We're on the comments, so if I missed your comment earlier, bring it up. When it was announced at the racetrack that Logan didn't make weight, did anybody get his thoughts on the DQ? Sorry, did not. Joe is calling for an insurrection. Is Joe in the comments? Let's see here. To me, it's a kid and some guy first year in a car, and dude just wanted to send a message. I'd knock him out. Okay, so we're back there. Thought the scales didn't work in Cali. The scales are always broken. Cali Dirt had full coverage. Let's see this. Let's throw CV in the 49 next year. Maybe. I think Joe should be allowed to respond. This has to be a little later. Hold on. The comments had to be good. Let's move on to woke Joe. Okay, so here we go. Trying to get back to the original comments when I was reading it. Yeah, I brought out the paddle, so that's talking about the wreck there. Talking about the wreck. Sorry, I'm not getting to the comments. Okay, here we go. Comment: can Logan appeal or protest? Was the 9 trying to bait him into a jump so he'd back out? That's exactly what I'm saying. I think Joe should be so they're saying he should be allowed to respond because I don't agree with him. Let's see who's the big guy in the blue DQing people. Let's see here. Yeah, Cali Dirt had better coverage than NASCAR. If you call a checkered yellow, now it's a 49-lap race and all the people will be pissed. Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. Throw a caution and check at the same time. Possibly, but Larson hadn't crossed the line yet. So that's where that would conflict. When was it announced at the racetrack that Logan didn't make weight? Okay, sorry, I already read that once. Corey Day seems kind of like a prick from what I've seen. I don't watch a lot of West Coast racing, though. People are saying Garcia was penalized, Chaz. Chaz is clueless. Well, he shouldn't have been. I still think I call both of those the same. So whether Garcia or whatever got penalized, I mean, then that's a fuck up. Okay, sure. But I definitely don't think the 69 car should have been penalized, or that's a example of them playing sides. If they did the Garcia deal, that wouldn't really make much sense because Garcia's in with the Cali cartel. He's a Tarleton member. So what are you talking about? So in a weird way, that disproves favoritism towards the cartel. Because you're telling me one cartel member got treated one way and the other one didn't. So isn't that treating the cartel fair and equal? And even though I think both of them, the Garcia one looked worse, but TK hit the brakes the worst. I mean, he had the guy behind him slam into him. The 9 car didn't have that. So, I mean, what are we saying here? I just don't get it. Now I still say that don't prove a damn thing. What does that mean? Chaz, you've never watched the whole Gage Garcia video to see the point Joe was trying to make. Garcia got penalized. I don't care. Even if Garcia got penalized and Kading did not, Kading's wasn't as bad of a separation, or not Kading, or yeah, Bud Kading. I guess I got to make the difference now. Bud Kading. If Bug Kading didn't get penalized, that was the right call. You know, I don't know why or maybe you're trying to say they favored the Kadings and hated the Garcias because it's more Kading over there in Tulare, even though, you know, the Tarleton's more so on that side of the town. So you would think that wouldn't be the case. Like, what the hell's going on? Joe wanted Cole Macedo to get penalized too? Totally on the 9. If you watch the previous 2 laps. What is Outback Andy's number? We need to get a smart Australian on the line. That's what we need. We need a smart commentator. I don't know how to say that. I can't agree that Bud Kading should have got penalized. I just can't. I just don't see it that way. At all, period. At all, period. No way. There's no way to see those things the same. Let's see here. No way to see those things the same. At the same time, if once again, I don't know where the cartel or even Angle's going. Are you trying to say they're favoring the Kadings and not favoring the Charltons? I that would be against the CA elite to begin with. I still don't see it that way. All right, let's see if we can get a caller in. Hello. Hey, we got you on the line, Outback Andy.
Hey, Chaz.
What's going on?
Well, the Tulare incident with Dom Selfie, I was watching that pretty intensely. The 9 have been pretty good, you know, up until that time. But when you look what the 9 did to Dom, you can totally understand what Dom did.
Yeah.
Know?
And being with all this Facebook stuff, he's probably thinking somebody may want to try to one up him or make him eat his words, you know. So he's going to show him what's going to happen if you try to pull that shit.
I was next to Dom in a heat race that he wasn't in. I think it was on the Thursday night, and there was a car that spun to the infield, came back across the track in turn 2, right in front of the leaders, and we're lucky that the leader did not ride a wheel. And, you know, these cars, not even the young guys, these guys that are off the pace, when you're last getting lapped and you're probably going to be last in the C main, you shouldn't be pulling back on the track. It's time to give it away and just call it a day on that particular heat race, because you ain't going to make up any time. So there were some things that happened, and I see exactly what Dom was on about. You know, we got to curb these young guys, and I guess that was the way you know Dom was.
Is that a young racer? I don't know that guy's name really at all.
Okay, so it's the son of a guy that used to race in Marysville many years ago.
Okay, so it is.
And I believe the 2 sons. They call them the Flying Hawaiians. They're originally from Hawaii.
Well,
the predecessors.
Well, that doesn't. No, I almost feel sympathy for him then, but yeah, he didn't race them pretty clean at all.
Yeah, well, if you go back even further than you were sent, you will see blatantly that the 9 runs Dom up into the wall. And I was actually standing right there, because at Tulare, the best place to actually watch is in that grandstand down in 4. If you get to the top of the first section, that's actually the best spot to watch it from.
Oh, okay. I've been down there.
So it happened right in front of me. And the guys I were with, after it happened the first time, I said, "You watch this." Then out of turn 2, he runs Dom up to the wall again, coming out of turn 2. You know?
Yeah.
And then
what about the Torgerson deal? Just blatant what Dom was talking about.
Yeah.
There's that looks like a person that can't control the race car. You know, and that's the problem. There's no vetting in dirt racing. You know, if you have the money and a kid who wants, I want to be a race car driver, me, You just buy the car and put him in it. And then that guy, this driving that I just saw here, it's like he had no idea how to drive the car. Like he just drove it into somebody. Like didn't have no conception of slowing down and making the corner. Like something, did a bug hit him in the eye or something? I don't know. I mean,
yeah, this is my opinion is that there's a lot of these kids that are actually getting to race. They're just not ready to race at that level at Tulare.
Well, these are badass fucking race cars. There's not a lot of people in the world that can really drive these things. These ain't necessarily easy things to drive. These are some of the hardest vehicles in the world to drive. Maybe your kid ain't cut out to be able to do that,
If one of the greatest 360 races in California, in Andy Forsberg, won't race the Trophy Cup, because that place will eat you up really fast. And, we saw some big crashes down there. I didn't get back on Saturday. I couldn't come back. I had some other commitments. But
I'm thinking what I'm saying is like, these are jets on the ground. And to get into a jet in the air, you have to go to like an academy and pass tests. And if you don't pass tests, you don't even get to get in the cockpit ever in your life. There's a vetting process to where you get tested to even be able to be allowed to fly them. And if these are jets on the ground, which it is, pretty comparable, and you're just able to buy your way out there into the air with other people and fly jets in the air without any kind of training or tests passed. We're hoping micros are tests, but you don't even have to win in the micros to advance. You just have to have the money, That's not good. I think that's how this stuff happens.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is I don't really want it to go as closed as Australia where, the government, you hold a government license to race a sprint car. But there is some merit. Yeah. There is some merit. You have to work your way up. You just can't buy a sprint car. You just can't buy a sprint car and turn up and race a sprint car. And I think
there's a benefit to that system.
Yeah. And there's still a lot of difference between a really badass micro and, a 360 sprint car. There's still, and especially somewhere like Tulare, those guys are getting around there. Like a lot of people, if you haven't been there,
it's unbelievable the speed. It's half-mile speed.
Yeah. Yeah. At Tulare, it is really fast, and it'll eat you up and spit you out quicker than anything. So, I don't know. I just think that we got these kids coming in, and I see Dom's point. Someone's going to get killed or something if you have instance like the particular guy that ran back out on the track in front of everybody was.
Oh God, that was crazy at Placerville.
Yeah, no, but the one that ran on Tulare that drove back out on the track, I think it was Thursday night, right in front of the leaders. And that's just crazy.
Well, and even to the father's point, there are some guys who are probably old and washed up. I don't think it's Dom, but there are some that are out there. Maybe a guy gets rich and just hits the lottery and he wants to drive a race car. I knew a guy in Texas named Sean Peterson, who had a lot of money, but he really couldn't drive. But he could do it. But he was 45, he had made wealth in his life, and he wanted to drive race cars, and he couldn't do it. Now, I know there's some other guys, they get up in age, and they make money, and they get in the car, and they're good. And I think that's where the talent area is lying. Some people, talent, you cannot teach talent. And that's why I laugh when I hear about these schools and these coaches for these drivers out there now. You can't teach talent. Tim Tebow prayed to God to throw the football better than Tom Brady, and Tom Brady could be drunk, falling over, throw a football better than him. You can't teach talent. It's God-given. Some people have it and some don't.
Exactly, Chaz. The other thing too is I just, these people that can buy race cars and just turn up and race, because they've got the money to do so. It's just crazy. I just don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's what it is.
These cars, like you say, these cars are like fighter jets, but they're on the ground.
Jets. We're letting people jump into jets because they can buy one. Did you hear what the fuck I just said? Imagine if they let that go in the real world. You know how much you have to be a Donnie Schatz? Because me and Donnie Schatz joked about me getting a pilot's license, mainly to do drone stuff. But me and him joked, if you get one, I'll let you drive it. I went to looking into it. Do you know how hard it is to even get a license to fly a private jet? We're not talking about a fighter pilot. We're talking about just to cruise around up there in the sky. You know, it takes 2 to 3 years, and there's tests in there that are unbelievably hard. Reactionary tests, all kinds of crazy tests to even think about flying. And flying a plane, I would say, guys, is a little bit easier than driving a sprint car. If you think about it, how hard it is to literally, I mean, we watch the guys and everything to just, you pull back, you fly the plane. It's close to I'm not saying it's as easy as a car on the streets, but it is pretty close to a car on the streets. There's a certain way you do it, and everybody has these rules, and you abide by them, and you stay safe, and you do everything slow. And so I would say that flying a plane is easier than driving a fucking sprint car. And you got to go and do all that stuff just to even think about getting in the air with a fucking drone, mind you. To even fly a drone, you have to go and do shit to be approved to do it and have knowledge and ability. What in the world are we doing? If you can buy a jet, you can fly one. That doesn't happen. And I'll say this, a real fighter jet is probably as hard to drive or fly as a sprint car. Not like a commercial plane like I was explaining, but a fighter jet. And Bill Gates can't just go buy a fighter jet and fly one. You know, it's illegal.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
But that's what we're dealing with here.
Look, I've seen many in my time. I've seen it in Western Australia, and I've seen it a lot out here, where these rich daddies buy their kids these sprint cars, and they keep crashing, and they keep crashing until daddy takes them out, because daddy's worried about them getting hurt after they get hurt a few times, and then it's all over. You know, I've seen it tons of times here in California.
Right. And then this is why I was saying the talent deal and these coaches and all this bullshit. No. Daddy's out there. Let me say something real quick, Outback. Daddy's out there. No. It's not true. Just because your kid is in year 1 or year 2 and you think he needs to learn more to get better, no. Talent is fucking natural, all right? Talent is just, some people got it, some people don't. I'm not going to be egotistical and say I got all the talent in the world, but I had enough talent in my third fucking race in a race car to be driving on the outside where no one else was, pass for the lead, and almost win a fucking race. Got passed with 1 to go by their national fucking champion. People were walking up to me asking, how do you do that? My third race in my whole entire fucking life. If you and your kiddie have raced since he was 5 years old and you get to 14 or 15 in a sprint car and he can't get out there and figure it out in 1 year or 2, he's not going to learn how to be any good. You don't need more years of development. As much as these damn parts houses and engine builders and chassis manufacturers and shock guys are going to sell you on that because they want to keep taking your rich daddy fucking money, that's not true. Okay? So as much as these people are trying to hype you up like he just needs experience, no, they're just telling you they need some more of your money in the years to come because your bank ain't going to run out, and that's going to keep my business open. So that's the true problem. There is the enablers.
Yep, exactly. We used to have quite a few sprint car schools and midget schools out here in California, which seem to have gone away now. And I don't remember as much of a problem as we've got now. And I think that's probably the reason why is they get to the stage of coming out of micros, and they think they're ready to take on the world of outlaws.
But
You know?
but isn't that the other? And this goes back to the vetting. There's guys that aren't kicking ass in micros moving up. I mean, the guys who kick ass in micros who move up do relatively well, or at least race soundly, who kick ass. You know, Corey Eliason, you know, Justin Sanders, Christopher Bell. You know, here's some big success. When you're successful in your ranks, whether that's micros or outlaw carts, I think outlaw carts is closer to a 410. But when you're Kyle Larson, when you're Justin Grant, when you're Logan Seavey, and you dominate these levels, I think you can move up. But the problem is, back to the money that these people probably want to make. If your kid's not winning and dominating in these levels, he probably don't need to go to 410s or 360 sprint cars. If he's not winning,
I'll agree with you there.
he don't need to move the fuck up. But then again, I didn't think about this until we got on this topic. I think that this could be a manufacturer issue. Because these people building these cars, selling these parts, and sorry, we got a little disconnected there, but I was just saying that I'm just saying, I feel like, there's more influencers here than we may know trying to get those kiddies to move up.
Yep. Well, I got a friend who's got a bunch of sprint cars. They're all new, but they're 5 to 6 years old, at least chassis, right? And I told him, we need to go buy a 360 motor. He's got all 410 motors. So we need to go buy a 360 motor, and we need to put a deal together and put these kids on, because you're going to end up with new chassis, because they're going to wipe all your stuff out, and you just keep writing the invoices to the rich daddies, and you'll end up with all new stuff. That's the way that you'll update the race shop, right? And as sad as I say that, and kind of jokingly say it, it's actually true.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I do not disagree.
It's absolutely true.
I think so.
And
those people
it's
doing
just
that,
sad to-
and those people doing that are the people with the money who influence the sport, who tell the sport what to do. So how are you going to come in here, and if you're in a ruling position, and implement these changes that are going to take your sponsors bankrupt? Because they're making money off of these people.
The other thing you've got, too, is you've got some tracks are now very, very back gate oriented that want these kids to come and run, because they're getting the entrance fee and the back gate fee. It bolsters up the numbers.
And their daddy sponsors the track, throws a sign up.
Exactly.
How you going to tell that money no? Money over morals is the fucking battle here.
You ain't going to tell it no. Yeah.
And that's why you got to and this is why people don't like government. They want all this freedom and shit, but they really don't understand how a government sometime is needed. A world of outlaws, for whatever bad they may give you, but it's a bad example, but sometimes government's needed. Somebody wants to come in and try to implement an Australia situation, there'll be a lot of people mad because they're going to keep away the financial cow that we're talking about. This is why people who are successful in the right wing of the American society, who's been very successful in business, they don't like it when regulation comes in, when you can't do coal mining because of how damaging it is to the environment around you. Going green is stupid in some aspects, but when you see the effects of not just like atmosphere and global warming, blah, 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 but like poisoning waters, like the damn deal up in Flint, Michigan, there was regulations violated there that were in place so that these rich people don't just go out here and do anything they can to make a dollar and kill the water supply. They don't just go out here and do everything they can to make a dollar without worrying about the world around them. And that's why government is there. Yeah, it's there to restrict you from certain freedoms, because it's detrimental to society. Just like we have to halfway restrict the freedoms, I think, in this sprint car gig to safely race and not have these scenarios on the track.
Yep, and that's why I kind of like the Australian model a bit, where you have to go through ranks and race your way up to get a license. You just can't buy a sprint car and go racing.
Yeah, that's nice. That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Yep.
You shouldn't be able to go to sprint cars if you're a top 5 or 10 car in micros. You need to be racing. You need to be winning. If you don't know how to win, just because you go out there in a 12-car field and you ride around in 5th, don't mean you're ready for a 410.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're running tenths in a 305, you're not ready for ready for a 410. But if you're going out there and you're whipping up on all the 305s every race, and you go and win 50% of the races, 70% of the races in a season, in that 305, then yeah, you maybe make a case the 410. But I still think you should run a 360. And there's the three stages up in sprint cars: 305. 360, 410.
And when people tell me who's the best driver in California or who's the best driver here and why I don't subscribe to Kyle Larson being the greatest is because due to this situation, there are guys in 305s and 360s and other divisions of this country who are some of the best damn drivers of those divisions that have no opportunity in moving up. Because the car owner's daddy, the car owners that we have, that racing used to have, well, their sons went out and had kids and shit, and they ain't car owners anymore. They're just there to create a hobby for their kids. Now, this ain't the situation across the board, but some of these rich daddies and stuff, the Torgesons or anybody, should be car owners with badass drivers. You go around, you scout, and you look for a racer who could come up, who could be the next Kyle Larson, who could be the next Steve Kinser. Screw Kyle Larson. Fuck that. Fuck Cole Trickle. Let's get some Kings back. We don't have none anymore, but that's the scheme. Regardless, you don't understand. Oh, well, some people don't understand that, but I'm just simply saying there's people out here who could be car owners that love racing, but they got their damn kids. They're putting money in their kids. No, put the guy who's winning in these lower divisions in some race cars. There's so many people in PA and Texas and Nebraska and California and across this country dominating in divisions they can afford, kicking rich kids' ass week in and week out, not getting one fucking opportunity to move up in the racing world. We're in a proper situation. Those are the ones who should be advancing. Yep.
And this is why I hate the NASCAR program when you get to NASCAR West.
Same thing.
And, like ARCA and stuff, because it's all pay to play. If you got a big checkbook, you can go ahead. Now, Kyle Larson, yes, he is one of the greatest talents of all time, but you have to say he's one of the greatest of all time, talents of all time.
He's
that
the one
had
with
opportunity.
that had opportunity. Correct. Sorry.
And if people would add that at the end, add opportunity. And like you say, for every Kyle Larson, there's probably another 20 back there, like you say, that could be as good as Kyle Larson. Not just pick on Kyle Larson. Let's go with Christopher Bell. Let's go with whoever, right? What we want to do is, but even in the
opportunity to you bring up Christopher Bell, literally before Kyle had his inward situation and went to full-time racing dirt like he did, there was a legitimate debate having out there who's better, Christopher or Kyle, and Kyle had already got his ass beat by Christopher several times at the Chili Bowl and was already a leg up in the win-lose column. And the reason we're not able to properly judge who's better in dirt isn't because of the results category, it is now, but it's not necessarily because of one-on-one opportunity. It's because of the opportunity Kyle has to even race dirt cars. And that's the only reason he's in the position he is right now, because I guarantee you right now, for every race that Kyle Larson's won in the last 3 years, or since this N-word thing's happened, if Christopher Bell was in the field with them, whether that's a damn wing car, Silver Crown car, late model, I don't give a damn. Christopher Bell would have took 60% of those wins away from him.
Yep. And I credit to Kyle. He does, he does acknowledge that Christopher Bell is a huge talent. Yeah.
Right. Well, and Bell
Yeah.
came up just like Kyle, no money, didn't have no big West Coast monies either. And opportunities in NASCAR worked out for him where he had to be a slave to Toyota. You know, Kyle Larson went the free route with the Chevy deal that even opened up a spot for Christopher Bell in Toyota because Kyle Larson was originally a Toyota racer. So,
Exactly.
I mean, he is forced under this, and he should restructure his contract, but he's still underneath that Toyota banner. And even outside of the N-word, I mean, look at all the opportunities that Kyle got through all of that. Kyle, we're sitting here debating on how Bell or Larson could be considered equal. I think he'd take 60% of his wins away from him. And we're sitting here talking about Larson's going to run Indy 500. Is this conversation that was normal prior to the N-word, to most people right now sounds crazy for me to say that Christopher Bell could do everything Larson's doing. Most people would say it's crazy. But back then, they would say Bell was better. So everything that's happened right now is based on, even for Larson, is based on his opportunity. Because we have a pretty good example of a driver who is just as equally, if not better, behind the wheel of any race car, not being able or being talented or allotted a greatest of all time, going to Indy cars, doing all this stuff. He don't even get to do that because Christopher Bell didn't have these opportunities.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I agree with you there.
That's crazy. That
There's
just blows
many
my
a
mind.
driver. There's many a driver. There is many a driver that I've seen in my time that has not been able to go on because the opportunities haven't been forthcoming their way. And I've seen some really badass racers here in Australia that have just not been able to go on because they just haven't had that opportunity. Yeah.
Right. And somebody's in the comments saying Bell ran over Larson at the Chili Bowl. Bell's a hack. Larson missed the corner on the final lap, and Bell was there. Passed him clean, I thought. I don't know what he's talking about, running him over. But this is the biasness of the worst fan base to ever exist, known as the Larsonites. You can't tell them different. He is Jesus to them. He is the Cole Trickle. He is from California.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we can let you go now.
The other thing too is I saw some comments from people tonight, and one was about obviously they didn't think the Zero car is any worse. That's not true. The Zero car has the TK is racing has the best of everything there.
Yeah.
And there's some real knowledge with Ashley Smith, and I don't agree with those sort of comments. You know?
Well, and I also don't agree with that 69 jump in the start. Like, I don't think that was a jump at all.
Yeah. Oh, no, the 69 is not junk. You know?
No, jump that start.
No, I don't either. And I think...
what was the point Joe was trying to make, apparently?
Thank you. I think Joe's going over the top. Obviously, we know he doesn't get on with the kiting. So anytime he's going to find them, it's probably gone beyond it a bit now. So yeah, I don't think you can really blame Bud on that. You know.
And then Garcia got penalized.
Well, there you go. You know, again,
but then that's a part of the cartel because Garcia's Tarleton, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So then how did the CAA Elite work when there's two calls and two different favors? I mean,
yeah. Look, I understand Joe. I love Joe, but I think he's just gone a little bit overboard with it. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, that's the only way to say it.
Yeah, and so I think, but like there's, a lot of people telling the stories there, but it's definitely, I agree with you, with the guy that won and got DQ'd, he is a huge talent. And that car's pretty good too. That 16A car, Blaine Taz, that's been a good ride. Everybody that gets in there usually goes pretty quick.
Right, and CV's another Larson guy. Just how I describe Bell to Larson, I would describe CV to both of them guys.
Yeah, I think Stevie's a huge talent. I really do. I've seen him jump in a bunch of different cars, the Trent Shore and midgets, and he's been really fast in everything he gets in.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, it sounds like you're working. We should probably let you get back. It's already almost 1 o'clock here, right here. But
I'm out there door dashing tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But all right, I'll let you go. And thanks for calling in. We should have you in more. You got logic to your opinions. Outback.
Yeah,
is
no,
in
I
the
know.
building.
Look. I'm not a fan of some of the people that Joe is talking about, right? But
he's got good points. No, I'm
not
I'm not slamming Joe. I do think he went a little far here, but I think that your opinion just comes a little more polished.
I just say credit where credit is due, even
right,
if
me too.
There's certain drivers that I've not liked in my time, but I'll give them credit when they do something that is pretty spectacular. Or if there's a judgment call, I'm not that blinded that I don't have to have. Yeah, I can see, I can see over the side a little bit and see it.
Right. I don't think I should have said you're more polished. I should have said you're a little more fair when it comes to who you're in your judgment of racing action, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've raced a lot, and let me tell you, I've been on the wrong side of a lot of judgment calls.
Yeah.
If
you got to call it on yourself, you do.
Yeah. So it's I've seen it and I've experienced it. And I've experienced the one-sided stuff. And we got suspended one time for the officials not picking up on stuff that happened, and I told them, if you don't take care of it, I will, and took care of it, and then we took a little holiday. So
right.
Yeah, no, I see it from all angles.
All right. Well, it's just over the 2-hour mark here. I think we're about to get out of here, but thanks for calling in, and we got to do it some more for sure.
Yeah. Hey, love your stuff there, Chaz.
Did you get my announcing? Did you hear me announce?
No, I did not, but you'll have to send me a clip or something. I'll have to dig it up somewhere.
Right. It's on the Dirt Vision, the Devil's Bow Friday race during the heat races, 305s.
Okay. Yep.
So, all right.
That's pretty cool that the Dirt Vision showed that. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was a track decision. It wasn't Dirt Vision's, but.
Yep.
But
that's cool though. That it was covered.
Yeah, it was awesome. But anyways, thanks for calling in.
Hopefully you get to do more of it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
I won't say no to the right situation. Thanks for calling in, Andy.
Have a good night. Cheers.
And that was Outback Andy, man. We need to get him in here more. I'm interested if Joe will show up again. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I just don't see that bug cating thing the same. Maybe the Gage Garcia deal, I guess now we're not as against one another, but the cartels lined up on the outside. It's not a bobsled. Yes, we talked about it all. Dank, you're a little late, but I'm going to go ahead and end it so you can go back and watch it. It's a really good 2 hours. I don't think I slowed down you. If you're only here for the All-Stars and the Joe stuff, go past the talk about the late models. That's kind of the first beginning half of the show. Well, not even half, probably 30 minutes, 20 minutes. We were on the late model. So skip ahead into that and you'll catch what you want to see. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in once again. Links in the description to join the support, Venmo, PayPal, everything is supported. Get your name up here on the top. We've been adding the members. Click that and you can see it. Dank, I think your name is actually up there if you go where you watch. I'm pretty sure I updated this with all the membership names. And that's how you join that. I think the cheapest one's $2. You could do more than that, though. There's other options. Don't just click the cheap one. You know what I'm saying. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, like the video, share the video, comment below. And as always, be sure to subscribe. We got some new shirts coming out here very soon. Look forward to showing y'all those when they roll out. We'll catch you next time.